We never know where life will lead us or what may hinder us along the way. But while every day can feel like one big question mark, it doesn't have to. With the right insights, strategies, and solutions from Western and Southern Financial Group, together we can look ahead to leave the unknown behind.
Welcome into Tailgate. Austin Gayle here with Mike Renner in sunny Cincinnati, ready to rip it up. We were going to do a Saturday show, but our brains were fried.
Well, we didn't really think about the schedule, how tight that turnaround is, because we also had a Sirius show at 8 a.m. Saturday morning.
That's right, yeah.
That kind of got in the way. So we sold you a bag of goods, but we're here. Now, ready to break down the draft.
I'm here, man. I'm here. The Friday show was awesome. And then Saturday, we had an 8 a.m. Sirius radio show that went on for 2 hours. And then we had to do day 3 of the draft. And then day 4, Sunday, was just like, we're refreshed. We're reset, ready to give draft grades for all 32 NFL teams. That's going to be a bulk majority of the show. We got some Save Your Likes. We have some fun to reads. I also wanted to fit into the Catch and Early Buzz. I should have told you this before we went live. Just some of your favorites in your 2023 mock.
Oh, 2023 mock. Oh, let's go over the 2023 mock as a whole, like in a couple days here. But it's up on pff.com, I will say. Some of my favorites, though, I'll just say next year's DT class is looking hot.
Really?
So the 2 highest pass rushing grades among defensive tackles in the country last year from true sophomores. So that's going to be hot. Jacqueline Roy, Jalen Carter, LSU and Georgia, respectively. Good DT class. Good quarterback class, which is why you're getting this report that people were looking towards 2023 and saying, that was a factor in why these quarterbacks slid in this year's draft class. So those are my 2 biggest takeaways. And the other one is there's a few wide receivers now. I'm not sure there's a ton. There's not a big look ahead of a lot of established guys, but obviously with the way wide receiver talent's going, they always crop up. Like Jameson Williams, we weren't talking about at this point a year ago, so yeah.
Kayshon Boutte is my guy for next year. I saw you had to go 9 to the Chicago Bears. I think he's a top 10 player.
You know who I am excited to see, though? Eric Gilbert, the LSU tight end, transferred to Florida for like a day and then to Georgia and then missed last season for personal reasons. I don't know what's going on with this dude, but obviously it's not been reported what it is. But talent-wise, this guy's going to be insane.
I also really like that you fit in Devin Leary, the NC State quarterback, because
he's the best quarterback in the country, according to his
Dave
coach.
Doran, the head coach at NC State, looked at me in the face and said he's the best quarterback in the country. So I'm excited to see him. We watched him a little bit too. He rips it up. The other thing is, I don't know if this was salt toward Pittsburgh Panthers fans, but you put Jordan Addison in there.
Pitt Panthers, okay. I was like, okay, it's Jordan Addison.
Yeah, it says Jordan Addison, Pittsburgh, but he transferred USC.
He officially did?
Yeah.
When?
Did you see like yesterday?
Oh, wait, no, I thought he was reported.
No, dude, buddy, listen to this.
Finalized.
Listen to this. He goes to USC. He got $2 million in NIL deals and his own South Beach home.
Stop.
Yes. He has his own house.
This is finalized.
Finalized, bro.
When I was writing it up, it wasn't finalized.
No, it's finalized. Oh. Lincoln Riley pulled out a bag. I loved who is David Pollack on. It was a show that we were watching yesterday, and he said NIL stands for now it's legal, because this guy, they just like dropped an absolute house on Addison.
Quite literally.
It's absurd. It's absurd. Now my thought immediately is Pittsburgh must have not been getting him his due. Because you're not luring Jackson Smith and Jigbo away from Ohio State. You're not luring Kayshon Boutte away from LSU, unless their NIL deals are subpar. And if Pittsburgh isn't, finding a way to get it done for Addison, USC's like, hey, come to South Beach, we'll get you a home and $2 million. That's insane.
Well, that's the thing about recruiting now. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop when you sign in the dotted line.
Oh, my God. I love it. I love it. So the people who are upset about that, right? Is this what the NIL was for? Yeah, it was. This is what the NIL was for. Yeah. Let's go get the players paid. Let's go get the players paid. And if you can't pay your players, you can't get them deals, then they're going to go to a place that can.
Well, I think Justin Ross and his decline, injuries, obviously, and going undrafted and going unsigned for a while, right? Like, he wasn't coveted even post-draft.
He's still unsigned.
He's still unsigned. His whole saga is why NIL should exist. It was why, like, he should have made money off of his talents before his talents got destroyed by the game of football. Yeah. You know, like those are the guys that deserve NIL money.
Guy was tweeting through it too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw on Twitter as the draft was progressing. It was an interesting time. But I feel bad for the guy, man. That sucks. That absolutely sucks. All right, let's get these draft grades. Draft grades brought to you by PFF. Ready to rock and roll here. We're going to go alphabetical. Starting with the Arizona Cardinals, who hauled in, I'm not going to go pick by pick here, but in their first top 100 picks, Trey McBride, the tight end from Colorado State. They obviously didn't have a first rounder because they traded it for Marquise Brown. Then they brought in Cameron Thomas of San Diego State in round 3 at pick 87. Their last top 100 pick was Myjai Sanders of Cincinnati. I was not a huge fan of this draft class. One, I did not like and I know I made this clear on day 1 of the draft show, I did not like the Marquise Brown trade. Now, I also have sat on a fence with that trade because I do think Marquise Brown is going to have a lot more success in Arizona than he did have in Baltimore. The system favors him. You have Kyler Murray there, the connection, etc.
Yes.
However, I still don't think he was worth a 23 overall pick. I don't think any other team in the NFL is trading a first-round pick for Marquise Brown. Period. I don't. I think that's the only team where you're getting a first-round pick for Marquise Brown. Now, after that, McBride, he was 60th on PFF's board, picked at 55. I soured on Cameron Thomas as the pre-draft process kind of progressed. I worry that such a high percentage of his wins were inside. He has the hamstring injuries, all that stuff. He did test well. 3-cone was impressive. In round 3, though, might as well shoot a little bit. And then Myjai Sanders at Cincinnati at 100. I thought that was a bit early given his pre-draft process, right? Mm-hmm. Myjai Sanders up and down in weight. You talk to people in the Cincinnati Bearcats coverage, like, yeah, this guy is going to be difficult from a weight perspective to manage in the NFL. You got to stay on him. I didn't love their day 2. I didn't love their day 1. You give them a B- because, yeah, they did add some good players. I like Lasita Smith. I like Marquise Hayes. I like Keontae Ingram. But honestly, I lean C+, B- for the Arizona Cardinals draft. And, again, not impressed with the move Steve Keim's made. Because you even look at the Trey McBride pick, they re-signed Max Williams and Zach Ertz this offseason. So you're bringing Trey McBride to a room that you just recently invested in. Is he going to be tight end 2 there? And Max Williams gets – I don't understand. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me, the moves they made. I'm going C+. Officially a C+ for this Arizona Cardinals class.
Okay. I've actually come around more to the Marquise Brown trade, especially for them. One, you have the inbuilt chemistry between him and Kyler Murray. Like, you know that's not going to sour. Yeah. You know, it's going to work out there. And 2, he was better than anyone you were going to get at 23, or more of a sure thing, more of a guy who's going to impact your roster right now. And we talk about the rookie contract, and this is the last year Kyler Murray's cheap, and then you're going to have to, fifth year option, extend him, whatever. But it's going to bump up a lot more after this year, his cap number. And so you can make plays like this. You can make all-in sort of plays because this is, right or wrong. And if you look at this roster, probably more wrong, but like, lightning in a bottle, this team could win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're going to be even close to the favorites. They probably are going to have like 6 best odds in the NFC. But it's going to go even lower than that once you're paying Kyler Murray $40 million a year. So you can make this trade to go kind of an all-in move. And Marquise Brown, obviously a very talented receiver, he's cheap over the next 2 years, relatively. $2 million cap hit this year, $13 million cap hit on the fifth-year option next year. Those are below market values compared to what we're seeing across the NFL. So I don't hate that move nearly as much as I did at face value when it first got reported, 23rd overall pick, a first rounder, when, that's similar compensation to what these other guys. I don't think you can look at it just through that lens because of how desperate Arizona is. But the picks that they then made were kind of just, again, meh. Like, I didn't get super excited about it. Cameron Thomas, maybe my favorite one. Actually, probably Trey McBride's probably my favorite one for that offense. A different type of tight end than Zach Ertz. Like, they can share the football field, I believe, and definitely bring some more speed to that position for them. But, again, a lot of just, we shall see. I don't want to crush it too bad because I do think they got better and gave more weapons to this offense.
Yeah, I mean, I did like, you look at the round 6 picks here. I like Keontae Ingram, the USC running back. I was kind of planting my flag on him as a guy that's going to be better than where he gets drafted. Lacita Smith at Virginia Tech in round 6, I think, is value. And same with Marquise Hayes at 257 in round 7. I think those are value picks as well. I was not a big Jesse Luketa fan, and I'm not surprised that he went as late as he did because of that. Yeah. But yeah, C+ maybe is harsh, but I'm going to lean into it. I don't like it.
Yeah, you came to me after the draft and were like, you're a bitch for these draft grades. They're all too nice. And I was like,
well, with the Renee Brugner does the draft grades by all like the big media at 18. We have the third highest grades, like third highest cumulative GPA. NFL.com is first because NFL.com obviously just like jerks every single team.
They did it. They Super Bowl.
Everyone's good.
This is the year the Falcons turn it around.
Oh man, the
Falcons did have a great.
The Falcons did have a great draft. So. Yeah, favorite pick I think is going to be Marquise Hayes at 257. I mean that's good value. Marquise Hayes I thought was a lot better than that. Least favorite pick. I
think my least favorite is Majay.
Yeah, Majay at 100 I think will be my least favorite as well. All right, Atlanta Falcons. So you're officially saying B- there.
B- staying.
All right, Atlanta Falcons. This was an borderline A+ draft for me. I love what the Atlanta Falcons did. Their top 100 picks, and they had a lot of them. Drake London at 8. They grabbed Arnold Ebiketie, Penn State at 38. Someone I thought should have been in the conversation for the first round. I had him as a top 20 player on my own board. Troy Anderson, the linebacker from Montana State, uber athletic player at 58. Then they grabbed Desmond Ridder as he slides to 74 in round 3. And then D'Angelo Malone, the Western Kentucky edge defender that I really liked. And I'm not surprised ultimately that he went ahead of Myjai Sanders, right? I think D'Angelo Malone was awesome. Really liked him at the Senior Bowl. Has to add weight, but still. And then even after that, Tyler Algier, the BYU running back coming off the board in round 5. I think the Atlanta Falcons, that's an A+ draft for me.
Yeah, so first 4 picks, all seen as value picks on the PFF draft board. So 4 top 51 players in this class they got, according to the PFF draft board, with picks 8, 38, 58, and 74. And then D'Angelo Malone, 82nd, comes off the board. He's 89th on the PFF draft board, right where we saw him coming off. So got a lot more athletic, add a lot of juice to this defense that was much needed. And then you got your guy in Drake London. He was kind of, we said you could go whatever type of wide receiver you wanted in this class. We didn't think you could go wrong. 8 overall, pulling trigger on a guy like that. I just think he's a very safe bet to succeed in that offense.
Did they make any trades up for these players either? I don't think so. Obviously, London, that was their original pick. I don't think they traded up for Ebiketie. They kind of stayed put and still grabbed significant
it was too tough to figure out the trades going in. I remember top of day 2, I'm like studying the draft board prior. I'm like, okay, trying to like get it down. And then as soon as it kicked off, it was like Green Bay trades up 2 second-rounders, another trade, and I was just gone. It was just like the order was trying to figure that out and keep that straight was a nightmare.
My favorite pick of the Falcons draft is going to be Arnold Ebiketie of Penn State. They're at 38. Okay. The other, but it's hard not to argue that Desmond Ridder at 74 isn't a value, right? I think that's going to be. I don't think he's going to compete with Marcus Mariota for the starting job, but even if he sits behind Mariota, I think that's a very, very good value for the Atlanta Falcons there at 74.
Yeah, I'm go back and forth. I'll say Troy Anderson, my favorite non-quarterback pick. I love the first 3. I just love all of them. But like Desmond Ridder is probably, in terms of what you could get, the best value, like quite easily. Just love the idea of throwing darts at the quarterback position at 74, man. It's just at that position in the draft. I think Desmond Ridder's is. I just compare him to quarterbacks that have gone higher historically. Like I liked him better than Drew Lock coming out. I liked him better than Jalen Hurts coming out. Like the guys who have gone a lot of the early second round, mid second round quarterbacks in recent years. I like Ridder better than those guys. So I would have taken him higher. So getting him in the 3rd is, to me, for a team that desperately needs quarterback, obviously, a fan of that pick as well.
Of the 18 media outlets that did draft grades for all 32 NFL teams, the Atlanta Falcons finished tied for 9th. I thought they'd finish higher. Nate Davis of USA Today gave it a C-. C- for this draft? Kind of stunned by that. I think they were. You must hate Drake London, right? Because those other picks are values. I don't know. Wild.
Well, not everyone was high on Troy Anderson.
Fair.
But wrongly, in my opinion.
Wrongly. Baltimore Ravens. Everyone's giving it an A+. I'm not here on A+. I'm challenging the A+. I like A- here. I like A-.
A-?
They picked a punter. They trade up for a punter.
They had 6 fourth-round picks, dude.
That's fair.
What are you going to do with 6 fourth-round picks?
One of them, they picked a player that wasn't even on PFF's board.
Okay,
Marion Williams
fair.
of Houston.
Yeah.
141? Not even on our board?
They did that last year in the 3rd, so at least they waited to the 4th.
I punter and then taking someone completely off our board in the 4th. I don't know how that's an A+. A is probably more fair because I love what they did, obviously, in the first 110. Kyle Hamilton at 14. Tyler Linderbaum at 25. David Ajabo at 45. Travis Jones at 76 is one of my favorite picks of the entire draft. And then Daniel Falele at 110, perfect for what they want to do on offense. Yeah. Then even Jalen Armour-Davis at 119. I liked all those picks. Maybe A- is too harsh, but picking a punter, first punter off the board, Jordan Stout, and then Demarion Williams at 141, the Houston cornerback who wasn't even on PFF's board. It's just hard to give it an A+, right? I'll settle at A, so I'm not an asshole here, but I think A+ is rich.
The draft is 2 days long, and then day 3 is literally only about, like, if a guy makes a shit pick on day 3, whatever.
I think the draft is 4 rounds long. I don't think it's 2 days long. I think round 4 you can still pick up value. I think round 4 there's some studs.
I'll say 125 picks long. So
I'll say 140 picks long.
Okay.
But
so Demarion Williams doesn't count that stuff.
You win A+, obviously. Speak to us.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite pick, I'm going to go Travis Jones as my favorite pick, even though Ajabo has the potential to be my favorite pick. It's just the Achilles obviously holding that one back. But Travis Jones at 76, man, that's past where Devon Hamilton got drafted.
Yeah.
He's a better prospect than Devon Hamilton, the Ohio State defensive tackle. Like, and he goes from UConn, where, not to shit too much on UConn, but, like, I'm guessing he didn't get the best in terms of physical and, sort of
a coaching hotbed.
Technical development at UConn to Baltimore. Like, I'm floored that even an athlete like he is lasted that long, let alone his tape being as good as it was. So
there were also multiple trade downs, right, from Baltimore that helped them pick up a lot of these picks, right? They trade down from, I think, 20. Where were they? Traded down to
no, they were the Marquise Brown trade.
That's right.
So they didn't trade down for the first one, but then they were 23, flip with Buffalo, got Linderbaum at 25. They were on the side that was obviously the value side of the Marquise Brown trade.
I can't give them an A- factoring in the Marquise Brown trade.
You have to bump it up.
Yeah, I think
that's
A.
why
it's got to be an A. It's an A at minimum with the Marquise Brown trade, which obviously I called like excellent business for the Baltimore Ravens to trade him for a first-round pick to a team that would give you a first-round pick, and keeping it under wraps for as long as they did. Apparently, after his second season, he was talking about potentially wanting to get traded. Then after his third season, he's like, no, I really want to get traded. You get him to the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray. You get the 23rd overall pick. You trade down when Buffalo comes up for Kyrie Elam, and you still get Tyler Linderbaum, the consensus best center, the consensus best safety. You get David Ajabo, who arguably could be a first-round talent if he didn't tear his Achilles at his pro day. Travis Jones, who went after Fedarian Mathis, which is still absolutely insane. We'll get to the Washington Commanders draft. This was a slam dunk. You're right. This was a slam dunk. And I like the Daniel Falele pick. Jordan Stout, I don't want to poop on the Jordan Stout pick because you pick a punter in the 4th, whatever. Jordan Stout
lit punter.
Was a fantastic punter at Penn State. And people who were betting Matt Araiza, San Diego State, which I know I'm an alum. I was a big Araiza guy. People who were betting him, though, minus 400 to be the first punter off the board were high. Jordan Stout had 36 punts in between the 30s. So you're ruling out punts that are deep in their own end. 83% were down inside the 20. 53% down inside the 10.
He was the best.
Coffin corner.
Well, just red zone punter.
Red zone punter.
Yeah.
Touchback only on 6% of those punts, Mike. You compare that to Araiza, 29% of Araiza's punts were touchbacks in that area.
Lets it loose. No control.
No control.
It's like drafting Tiger Woods. Or no, wait, who's a good short game player? Steve Stricker versus a long drive driver.
I don't know any golfer outside of Tiger Woods. Stricker, I hardly know her, And the Ravens also picked up Tyler Beatty out of Missouri in round 6, 196. I like Beatty. Beatty in round 6, let's go. I'm going A. I'm not going A+ because of the punter and the Demarion Williams pick, but the Marquise Brown, all that stuff was fantastic. Everyone and their mother. You know what I was saying? Save your likes. Everyone who tweets about the Ravens draft because they just picked everyone's. They just went down they literally went down the consensus board, and they are the exact. Draft grades. All draft grades are. I've come to this realization. All draft grades is teams not shitting the bed. Like if you just don't pick massive consensus reaches, you're going to get an A from every team because it doesn't matter. Like even with the Raiders draft, they didn't have a first or second round pick, but they didn't pick consensus massive reaches. And, everyone's like, oh, it's a pretty good draft. All you have to do is just not be a disaster. That's it. All right, Buffalo Bills. They trade up from 25 to 23. They grab Kyer Elam. That video that's gone viral is incredible. It's exactly why I do the interviews, where he shows that notebook of all his notes he takes after. That was awesome.
I didn't take any notes in college. Maybe that's why.
That's why he didn't get drafted. Buffalo Bills then grabbed James Cook at 63 in the second round. So back end of the second round is where you start to feel good about this running back class anyway. 63 is literally the second to last pick of the second round. I'm not going to poo-poo a running back in the second round there. Terrell Bernard, Baylor linebacker at 89, and after that, those are the only 3 top 100 picks, but they got Matt Araiza. They got Khalil Shakir, who I know a lot of people like. Luke Tenuta in round 6, I think is worth it. This was a really good draft by the Buffalo Bills as well. I was a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I like this draft. Now B+ because it's the thing is I want B+, even though I really like the players, James Cook, Terrell Bernard, but
a little bit earlier than where they were on the board.
Just earlier where they were on the board, and that's a positional value argument more so than, talent argument. I think they're both fantastic players. I think James Cook is what that offense was missing. So 63 overall, sure. Maybe it's early. Wow, I just punched my mic. Maybe it's early, but that's a level of dynamism you weren't finding anywhere else. That's why he was RB4 in the PFF board.
Also very complimentary to what they have in Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. Yes. And they did it. I'm leaning B+ too. Part of me is leaning it because they didn't go running back in the first. They went Kyer Elam, who I think is a fantastic cornerback. And trading up just a couple spots to go get him, I don't think they gave up much. I think it was an outside top 100 pick. I think it was a phenomenal draft for the Buffalo Bills. I like B+ as well. Yeah. Carolina Panthers. Or what was your favorite pick? I think Elam was mine.
Let's see. Yeah, I'll lean Elam. Christian Benford. I'm excited to see what he does there. They've obviously done well to develop lower drafted corners, which is why they haven't drafted another one high since Tre'Davious White. So I'm curious to see the Villanova corner, big, very good ball skills, ton of ball production. I loved this game against Penn State this past year. I think that was the only Power 5 team or Power 5 or FBS team he played. But, yeah, I'm a fan of that pick.
Panthers. We have an interesting draft. They go Ike Ekwonu at 6, which I think everyone loves. Everyone loved Ike Ekwonu. Mm-hmm. We knew they were going to go offensive lineman. Oh, no. Who put in the draft grades article on PFF.com that Ike Ekwonu was a guard? That's low grade stuff right there. That's pooping on the Panthers.
Where?
It's in the draft grades article.
I'm looking at it.
It says G, Ike Ekwonu.
Oh, it's right next to his name.
That's shade. Okay. That's shade. He's tackle. He's a tackle.
Technically, he played some guard.
He played tackle most recently.
Yeah.
And then, so they trade back into the third round. A future third, I think, is what they gave up, and something else. For Matt Corral of Mississippi, who fell all the way to 94 in this draft. After that, Brandon Smith of Penn State, I thought was one of their value picks, maybe my favorite pick of their draft, if you don't count Ike Ekwonu, which I think was a layup. Even Kalen Barnes, track star out of Baylor at 242, obviously a Matt Rule guy. I like that pick as well.
How about the report from Rappaport on Matt Corral? That I didn't actually get to see live, obviously, because I was doing our show.
It was absurd. He literally, after he gets drafted, he's like, yeah, there's some concerns with Matt Corral. He's, an alcoholic, or essentially, and some alcohol-related issues, which I don't know what those are. And then he's also
he's a college student?
He's also dealing with depression. What really, it was just a scouting report for me. I'm also an alcoholic with alcohol-related issues and depression, and you don't see me crying about it. No, but Matt Corral, man, that report from Rappaport sucked. You hate to see that come out. It doesn't have to come out. It's like, hey, reason Matt Corral fell? Not really sure.
He's talked about his depression issues. Like that's been like a public thing. The alcoholism thing. What? I mean,
it's the alcohol-related issues for me. What is that? Is that tackling a cop like Baker Mayfield did in Oklahoma? What's the alcohol-related issues? Is it not getting any women at the bar? That's mine. Those are my alcohol-related issues. I'm skipping that one. Anyway, this draft specifically, I don't think giving up what they did to get back into the third for Matt Corral is bad value. You're taking a quarterback, right? You're swinging on a quarterback. And then you even come out and say, before Rappaport completely dragged him across the coals, said the Carolina Panthers had him as the quarterback 1 in this class over everyone. So them getting their quarterback 1 at 94, obviously impressive. And Brandon Smith, we've talked about him a handful of times, the Penn State off-ball linebacker. Insane athlete. Good length, too, I believe. but just hasn't played the linebacker position well yet. And I think that's worth betting on at 120.
Yeah, I truthfully am surprised he fell that far because True Jr. coming out and just insane athlete. Like, man, it really, from like a testing perspective, like he could play safety. He's an athletic safety, and he's 250 pounds. So surprised that, I mean, yes, a lot of his actual playing of the game of football needs work, but.
So the draft grades on Panthers is absurd. We gave them an A.
Okay.
We were one of 4 outlets to give them higher than a B. But like, if you are, in my opinion, draft grades and draft capital have a 0.7 correlation. Like
that's the thing is, as I tried not to do that.
Yeah, we did a good job of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, like with the Panthers, they were never going to. Ike Ekwonu was as ideal a situation. You got picking the top tackle. That's, I mean, and they got one of them. That's a great pick. Like then they got Matt Corral at 94 when, you know, I wasn't even high in Matt Corral, and I would have taken him way before that. So that one, and then I like Brandon Smith, and then, you know, Matt Rule's going to Matt Rule at the fastest edge and the fastest corner on day 3.
I mean, you look at, we're going to talk about the Raiders, but the Raiders, we were top 3 in how high a grade we gave them. We gave them B+. Yeah. People giving Raiders like C's and D's like doesn't make any sense. It's like, dude, they didn't have any picks. Yeah. And like, it doesn't.
So people, like most draft grades, I feel like just are Hall based.
Yeah.
It's like it's if you go, it's like free agency. It's like if you go out and spend $200 million of free agency, you're going to get better. Did you get value? Probably not. You know, it's why we didn't like what the Patriots did last year. It's why we didn't like what the Jaguars did this year. Like, is it worth it? No, probably not. And this with the Panthers, like those were all value picks, 1, 2, 3. So that's an A.
I'm giving Carolina Panthers an A, and my favorite pick is Matt Corral because he's one of us. He is one of us. All right, Chicago Bears. They picked a lot, but I think they had what? How many from round 5 to round 7? They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They had 8 picks from round 5 to round 7.
They kept trading back.
Their only 3 top 100 picks were Kyler Gordon, the cornerback from Washington, who a lot of people liked, and Jaquan Brisker at 48, the Penn State safety. Their 2 second-round picks were both spent on defense, and then they grabbed a 25-year-old receiver in Velus Jones Jr. from Tennessee. The only Velus Jones Jr.'s production profile is heinous. His athletic profile is middling. And then his age profile is concerning. And you pick him at 71, only offensive pick that you had in the first 100 picks. That I did not love their first 3 picks. Defensively, Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker are both really good players. But the number one concern right now is what are you putting around Justin Fields to have any level of success? I did not like this draft. I did not go C range because I like Gordon and Brisker as prospects, and I think they did a good job of throwing darts at offensive linemen on day 3 with Braxton Jones of Southern Utah, Zachary Thomas, San Diego State. Then they grabbed Jader Carter of Southern University. Like, I like the dart throws they had on day 3, so I'm not going to get into the C range, but it's a B- for me because the 39 and 48 overall pick, in my opinion, needed to be spent on offense. I'm going to look at who was available there and maybe where it would have gone.
Yeah, so Velus Jones, my least favorite pick. That one, he's about to turn 25. He never had more than 300 yards receiving in his first 5 years of collegiate football. He ran a 4.31, yes, but then he had a 4.51 short shuttle and a 7.32 3-cone, which are awful numbers for a wide receiver coming out, like bottom 10 percentile. And they drafted him 71st overall, man. That's a premium pick. So and that's like all you did for Justin Fields. You know, that was your only addition for Justin Fields. Now, like Gordon, like Brisker is going to be my favorite pick there. I think he's perfect for what they want to do defensively. You got your like defensive leader, Dominique Robinson, the 5th. I think he might actually make an impact. I mean, he could be their next Travis Gibson. And I like the Braxton Jones pick, but he's probably not starting for you right away. If anyone's going to start for you right away in this day 3, it's probably Zachary Thomas at guard, the San Diego State tackle. So I like their day 3, but, man, they are hanging Justin Fields out to dry, straight up. He's got the worst situation of any of the year 2 quarterbacks.
Easily.
Maybe of any quarterback in the NFL in terms of just the surrounding talent, because you have – sure, their offensive line could be good, but you're banking on a lot of guys to take a big step forward in year 2. Year 3, whatever, young guys on that roster. Now, they could go out and sign, I hope they do, go out and sign some offensive line help because there is still some available. But my Lord, at the moment as it stands, it's bad.
And right now, the Bears over-under on the season is 7, and I'm smearing the under. Like, I do not think they're winning 7 games next year. I don't. Like, not because Justin Fields isn't good, not because anything outside of just like this supporting cast is heinous. Equanimeous St. Brown, Byron Pringle, Darnell Mooney, and Velus Jones Jr. are your top 4 receivers. And then you have David Moore, Daz Newsome, Isaiah Coulter in the mix, but like that's not good. Like that's, and then you go to the offensive line, Tevin Jenkins, year 2, but needs to stay healthy. You have Patrick Lucas at center, Dakota Dozier at right guard, Larry Borum at right tackle. I don't like the offensive line. Defensively, you've done a lot in the secondary, and I think they've built well there. Tavon Young in the slot is great. They still have Eddie Jackson, Jalen Johnson, then you bring in Brisker and Kyler Gordon. Defense is going to be solid. You lose Khalil Mack, though. Still have Robert Griffin. I don't know. I'm concerned with what the Bears have done offensively to support Justin Fields. Didn't do a lot in free agency in the offensive line, and then they didn't do a lot in the draft. That has to be concerning. I'm smashing the under for the Chicago Bears there at 7. All right. And what I would have done instead of Gordon, Brisker, Velus Jones, I probably would have gone John Mechie, Bernard Ryman, and then maybe even take another offensive lineman like Luke Gedeke or something. Like just I would have spent more on offense. Yeah,
at 71, they could have drafted like Bernard Raymond. Maybe he's off their board, but like they could have gone different routes. They could have gone Jalen Tolbert instead of Velus Jones.
If they didn't want to go like Calvin Austin or something, they wanted to go
Parham
big
instead. Man,
Cincinnati Bengals. We gave them a B+ draft. At 31, Daxton Hill, safety from Michigan. You have a take that he might play outside corner there. Then at 60, Cam Taylor-Britt, super athletic cornerback out of Nebraska. At 95, Zachary Carter, probably my least favorite pick of those top 100.
Yeah,
Did not like Zachary Carter.
That was weird.
Did like, however, the Cordell Volson pick, North Dakota State offensive lineman at 136, and then Tyson Anderson of Toledo at 166. He was one of my favorite day 3 guys. He's a pretty athletic, explosive safety coming out of Toledo. And then their 252 was Jeffrey Gunter. We just met her, Coastal Carolina. I like their draft. I wouldn't give it an A per se. I think Daxton Hill was right where we would have picked him, but Cam Taylor-Britt maybe not. And then I did not like the Zachary Carter pick.
Yeah, the Zachary Carter pick, probably my least favorite. I mean, quite easily my least favorite. He's just a tweener with low-end athleticism for whatever position you want to profile him to. The other two, though, the top 2 picks I loved, just in terms of team-building strategy. They are creating a deep, flexible secondary. They have versatility that they can match up with now the Browns in their division, the Chiefs in the playoffs, the Bills in the playoffs, Chargers in the playoffs. They have answers for whatever because of how many guys they have in that secondary right now. So love that. Now they didn't get great, board value. 31, Daxton Hill was 37th on our board. Cam Taylor at 60 was 65th on our board. So that's not like getting surplus value, but you don't always have to. We're still saying those are damn good players, football players that they're getting at both of those at positions that are going to impact football game heavily. So I am a big fan of what the Bengals did just outside the Zachary Carter pick. That one was weird. They just felt like they were like, oh, we needed 3-tech. We lost Ogunjobi. Let's get a 3-tech, even if Carter's not really like your ideal 3-tech.
Favorite pick, Daxton Hill. Least favorite pick, Zachary Carter. I give them officially a B+, Cincinnati Bengals. I think
Cam Taylor-Britt's my favorite.
Oh. We had remember on the last mailbag podcast, someone's mailbag question, his name was Joey Pepperoni, and that got us on the tear of like, what would you name a strip club that also sold pizza? Next challenge I have, what would you name a strip club that also had a Top Golf opportunity? So it's a Top Golf strip club combination. I think for the male strip club, isn't there a club called a Five Wood, or what is it?
Yeah, Five Wood's a thing.
I think a 5 wood for the male version is good. But I'm asking the YouTube chat who's following along live, give us your best Top Golf combination strip club names. We'll keep going. Cleveland Browns.
It's going to be a weekly. We're naming
It's going to be a weekly. We're going to be naming strip club combinations weekly. The last time we did it, the chat was buzzing.
Yeah.
It came up with meat lovers, and what was the female version? I can't remember it now. It was good, though. Cleveland Browns. Oh, toppings. I think toppings is just kind of solid. All right, Cleveland Browns. They did not have a first or second round pick. They go round 3, Martin Emerson, Mississippi State at 68. 78, they grab Alex Wright, UAB edge. 99, they grab wide receiver David Bell. Perrion Winfrey at the top of day 3 out of Oklahoma. Jerome Ford at 156. Cade York at 124. Michael Woods II of Oklahoma, the receiver, at 202. Isaiah Thomas, another Oklahoma. They drafted 3 Oklahoma players. Isaiah Thomas, the edge from Oklahoma, and then Dawson Deaton, center from Texas Tech, at 246. We gave this grade a solid B. They obviously did not have a lot of high-end capital after trading for Deshaun Watson. My favorite pick is probably Winfrey. I like Winfrey at 108. I thought that's good value. Him going after some of the defensive tackles that were taken on day 2, I thought was a little ridiculous. Now, they still need help in run defense, right? And Winfrey's not going to be that run defender. Yeah. And I know a lot of people also like the David Bell pick more than I do. I'm not a huge fan of David Bell, but Winfrey for me was a solid pick. You could maybe argue B- here based on, I don't think they ever took like consensus steals, right? Maybe outside of Winfrey, but I think B is fine for what they did.
Yeah, no massive reach. No massive steal, though. So Winfrey, I'm trying to think. Alex Wright's probably my favorite pick. I think he's got something there. Elite grade at UAB this past season as a true junior coming out, and a ridiculous frame. 6'7", 270. The guy is long and powerful at a young age. Excited to see what he can develop on that defensive line. But again, I don't think they fixed kind of any need. I guess they probably went David Bell because he's NFL ready, despite maybe that NFL readiness not being that valuable and not impactful. But I think he can start for you right away. And at 99 overall, I'll take that, even if it's not necessarily going to be look like the rookie wide receivers where he's getting 1,000 yards, having a monster season, but he can fill a role for you right away, and is very talented in terms of just like being an actual wide receiver if he's not dynamic athletically. So solid draft, but their run D still need some help on that defensive tackle position. I wouldn't be surprised if they go sign some guys.
Cleveland Browns officially be my favorite pick, Perrion Winfrey. I don't know what my least favorite pick is. I mean, Emerson at 68. We had him lower down the board. Maybe you say that one, but I mean, none of the picks were disgusting, right? Yeah. I wasn't grossed out by any of the picks. YouTube chat is absolutely buzzing on the golf stripper club combination. Favorite so far, hole in one, and birdies. Birdies is good. Yeah. Birdies is really good. Yeah. Let's keep thinking though. We can get better. We don't have to do 5 wood for the male version. It could be better than that. 5 wood, though, I think is perfect. Dallas Cowboys. Some people hated this draft. So if you did not like Tyler Smith in the pre-draft process, you're going to hate this draft. So we go Tyler Smith at 24.
Did you see Bob Sturm, the Dallas radio guy, said he'd retire if they drafted Tyler Smith?
No way, really?
He's not going to retire, but he said that. I was surprised. I mean, I get why Tyler Smith's polarizing, but I like him a lot. I like that pick. Obviously, Jerry Jones did too. So
he was his number 1 player on his board, according to the media, and him showing out all the media. The other thing so Tyler Smith did a press conference after he was drafted, and he was like, people got opinions. All the media's got opinions, and you know what I say about opinions is they're like buttholes. Everyone has one. It was incredible. Tyler Smith coming for people's throats. What? Sam Williams, edge, Mississippi State at 56.
Did he actually say they're like buttholes?
Yeah, he said opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has one. It was incredible.
He just rose up the board again. Dude. This guy can't stop rising.
Tyler Smith at 24. The Tulsa offensive tackle, obviously, the buttholes. Round 2, 56. Edge, Sam Williams, Mississippi State. Really good first step. I did not like Sam Williams as much as other people did on tape, but the athlete is there. Jalen Tolbert, South Alabama. I thought the best receiver at the Senior Bowl. I think he went way too late. Comps very well to Michael Gallup. I don't know. It's not as complimentary as maybe you'd want it to be, but still, I like Jalen Tolbert a lot, especially at 88. And then after that, their day 3 picks, their highlights. They grab Matt Waletzko, the tackle from North Dakota State, Jake Ferguson, the tight end from Wisconsin. I know you kind of liked Deron Bland, the Fresno State corner.
Yeah.
And then Damone Clark, who's got the spinal fusion surgery that threw him down boards at 176. Has to feel like value, even if he takes a redshirt year. John Ridgway, I wrote up for the draft tracker on PFF.com. So John Ridgway literally can't move, but he is big. And taking him at 178 maybe is a value. And then Devin Harper, Oklahoma State, the linebacker there at 193. We gave him a B+. I think there are a lot of people who are lower than that because they don't like Tyler Smith and not super high on Sam Williams. I'm fine if you want to give this a lower grade, though. I mean, Tyler Smith is a not necessarily a project offensive tackle, but he does need to get a lot better in the NFL. He's a young player. I think B to B+ is the right range.
Fun fact about Ridgway. He's probably, I think from looking through, grew up the closest to me of any of these prospects in this draft.
That's a great fact.
Bloomington's from like 15 minutes away from where I grew up. So there you have it.
No
with
one
him,
cares.
the ISU guy who transferred to Arkansas. But their 5th round I love. They had the best 5th round of any team in the NFL. I'm saying it right now. Dallas Cowboys, best 5th round of any team in the NFL. Quote graphic.
Love.
Matt Let's-Go. This guy's you don't see guys as big as he is move as well as he does every day. He was the most athletic day 3 tackler, or the best athlete at the position drafted on day 3. That's like from a tools perspective. Now, playing the game of football, another thing right now. But he's a developmental guy. Deron Bland, I think, can actually like play a role. Like he's going to jump Nashon Wright tomorrow on their depth chart.
Damn.
Not saying a lot though. But probably my least favorite is probably Sam Williams.
Yeah.
56 was rich for me, but he's like a one-trick speed rusher guy, which you want it. You want that to replace Randy Gregory, by all means. He was that guy in this draft. So I don't even hate that too much. I like this draft. Jalen Tolbert's probably my favorite pick. That was a monster steal. He's gonna be so good there. He's just gonna be so good there.
And there's high expectations for this Cowboys team. 10.5 is where their win total currently sits. The favorite to win their own division at -110. Dak Prescott obviously has to be a lot better than he was towards the back half of last season. And even though they lost a lot, right? Randy Gregory, Lael Collins, Amari Cooper, Cedric Wilson, they're going to need to there's still high expectations for this team. So this draft class, what's interesting is like Sam Williams, I think, still needs to develop. Tyler Smith still needs to develop. I think Tolbert can start right away. Yeah. And you like Bland and whatever. But to get Smith and Williams at the top, and I like Tyler Smith, I don't think it's going to happen. Tyler Smith is not going to be the highest grade rookie offensive lineman next year. No way. It's just not going to happen.
No, he is a project. That's for sure.
All right, next is the Denver Broncos. Oh, a couple other strip club names as they've come through. Chippendales.
Okay.
That's not terrible.
Yeah.
Swingers. That's solid.
Swingers.
I like Swingers. It'd probably be a female-male strip club. A little combination piece. I didn't see anything else. John Daly's strip club, that's ass. That's terrible. That's not creative. Come on. The tailgaters need to be better than that. Denver Broncos. No first-round pick. They obviously traded for Russell Wilson. Round 2, they grabbed Nick Bonito, the last pick of round 2. I like Bonito a lot. When we talked about him on this podcast, he's designated pass rusher right away. Is he going to play run defense at how light he is? Probably not. But he could be. Some teams want him an off-ball linebacker. Maybe he does some of that for Denver. I like that for a lot for Bonito. Greg Dulcich, UCLA tight end at 80. Those were their 2 only top 100 picks. They had a lot on day 3 though. Damari Mathis, cornerback from Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. They grabbed Luke Wattenberg, Washington, who's got crazy long arms for an interior offensive lineman. I liked their draft. I think Bonito and Dulcich for what the picks that they had. And then you factor in also trading for Russell Wilson. I think this is a solid B+ draft. My favorite pick probably is the Bonito pick at 64.
Yeah, I like the Bonito pick at 64 for sure. And I think Ioma Wazirike, Iowa State DT, and Matt Henningsen, I think are perfect for that defense. You got 2 good 2-gapping run defenders that, that's where we say draft 2-gapping run defenders. Don't draft them with top 50 picks like Damari Mathis. You can get guys who are comparable in that skill set. And now maybe are they going to be pass rushers? Probably not. But they're comparable in that skill set, and that's late in the draft. And they can actually make an impact for your team. So I like those 2 picks. Really like Bonito. Seth hammered home the does Russell Wilson use tight ends? Probably enough to justify a pick. Probably not. But Greg Dulcich is a damn good tight end. He was quite clearly tight end 2 for me in this class. So not arguing with that. Solid draft, B+.
B+. I'm with you. Favorite pick, Nick Bonito. Least favorite pick. I don't know. I mean, wasn't super high on Turner Yell coming out, but 152. You're just throwing darts. I don't know if I have a least favorite pick.
I don't have a least favorite pick.
Detroit Lions. The YouTube chat has been clamoring for the Detroit Lions. Let's go. Alphabetical. We're going in. Too. It's an A+ draft.
A+ draft.
It's easy A+ draft for the Detroit Lions. They grab Aiden Hutchinson, the #1 overall player on PFS Draft Board, also a podcast co-host of mine. Go check out Hutch wherever you get your podcasts.
You did a podcast with him?
I did. I think so. It's 4 episodes. It's pretty fucking heat. That's the other thing. I swore a storm on the Kyler Murray or on the Cardinals trading Marquise Brown on the last. St. Jude's is getting a nice $100 cash from me after this podcast.
Aiden Hutchinson, fun fact, doesn't follow you on Twitter.
He does not follow me on Twitter. Aiden, what the hell, dude? You're ruining my cred. Aiden Hutchinson doesn't follow me on Twitter. His mom follows me on IG though. Wide receiver Jameson Williams of Alabama. They trade up from 32 to 12, and did not give up a lot. Like, they did not give up a lot. I've hammered this point home, but they did not give up a lot to trade up from 32 to 12. They did not. Only the 34th overall pick, and they traded up from 32 to 12 and 66 to 46. That I thought was good business, especially when you consider how unique Jameson Williams' talent is. And we've been on this conversation around wide receivers are more valuable, wide receivers are more valuable. Movement skills like Jameson Williams is what's valuable. And he has good size. I know the 178 pounds is not real. Like, he played last year, he said at 190, 195. Like, if that's what he plays at, 195 with that speed, that's money. Trading up to 12 is great. We love Josh Pascal coming out of Kentucky at 46. I think that's a value. Kirby Joseph, we also really like. Great ball skills, great length for the safety position. And I even liked some of their late day 3 picks. James Mitchell, Virginia Tech. Malcolm Rodriguez, Oklahoma State. Chase Lucas, cornerback, Arizona State. Like, this was a really, really good draft for the Detroit Lions. They, in my opinion, are on the rise. I don't think they're deep postseason contenders next year. I don't think they're going to be Super Bowl competitive next year. But I think they're a year out if they can hit home at the quarterback position in a 2023 draft where there is a lot of quarterback talent. This Detroit Lions team, when you factor into what they have that no losing team has right now at all, is buy-in into their head coach and into their culture. And that is going to show up when they actually have the talent, and I think they're finally adding it.
This is a franchise-defining draft, in my opinion. This is going to quite literally turn around the franchise. And just like looking at this with Aiden, with Jameson Williams, and then even Josh Pascal at 46, like the impact those guys could make. You know, the swings at valuable positions like that, just compared to the Bob Quinn year. When you go 2017, they went linebacker Jared Davis, cornerback Tease Tabor was the most unathletic cornerback in that draft. Just like you're capped in the impact of those guys. Next year, Frank Ragnow in the first. Love Frank Ragnow. He's a center. Kerryon Johnson, a running back, top of the second. Next year, TJ Hawkinson, a tight end, top 10. Compared to Jameson Williams at 12. And Jelani Tavai in the second round, another off-ball, slow linebacker. Like, the impact you could have been getting from those picks was so minimal, whereas the impact you can get from guys like Aiden Hutchinson, Jameson Williams, Josh Pascal is through the roof. This was a different Lions team. Now, still need to figure out the quarterback. That's still a TBD. But,
which is fine.
But I've said that this was not the draft, as evidenced by so many teams agreeing with them, to find your franchise quarterback.
Their win total for next year is set at 6, with juice on the over. Some people liking them to win maybe 7 games next year, 7+ games next year. But even if they win, say they win 6 games or 5 games, that sets them up so well to be involved in this 2023 draft class. I am excited to see the future of the Detroit Lions. All right, we are cruising down. A couple other names have come through the YouTube chat. Caddy Crack is terrible. That's just terrible. And then the next one is Tease Off. It's not. Okay. Just a top. If it was just like a topless bar,
yeah.
Aren't those a thing? Tease off. All right, Green Bay Packers. You gave this draft a B+, and honestly, I think that's the most I've ever seen you leverage your shareholder card. Because this is not.
It should be higher.
Come on.
Look at their day 3.
All right, day 2.
Look at how many top 100 picks they got.
Give me a second.
Their top 100 guys in PFF 4. Give
me a second. Quay Walker, linebacker, Georgia. You said that pick was solid. I did not love the pick. I think there's more value to be had at 22. At 28, though, they grabbed Devontae Wyatt, top 20 player on PFF's draft board. Love to see it. Check. Awesome. Cash. Christian Watson, they traded the 53 and 59th overall pick to go get Christian Watson. 2 second-round picks.
That one's tough.
To go get Christian Watson made no sense to me. I did not understand that. I'm lower on Christian Watson than the consensus was, but still, to give up 53 and 59 doesn't make a lot of sense. I like the Sean Ryan pick at 92. Romeo Doubs at 132 is a value. Then that was an elite, back-to-back elite picks in Zach Tom and Kingsley Enagbare. I thought Tariq Carpenter, too, was solid. Rasheed Walker, where he got him at 249, was solid. So maybe B+. I think B+ is fair. A- would be ridiculous. Yeah. With the trade up for Christian Watson and then Quay Walker being a bit overdrafted, I think.
Quay Walker's high floor, though. In that scheme, he's solid. So
Okay. I still think, though.
I would have gone Devin Lloyd.
I think B+ is fine. I think B+ is where it should be. I really like the Zach Tom pick, one of my favorite picks of day 3. Really like the Kingsley Enagbare pick in round 6. And even Romeo Doubs, who I did not like at the Senior Bowl. Like, I don't think he's flashed by any means. Mm-hmm. But getting a receiver there, I think, is solid.
Yeah, I like Romeo Doubs. I mean, just purely based off of tape, I think he's a better receiver at the moment than Christian Watson. Obviously, Christian Watson, you're betting on tools and has far better tools. But I do think his tape at Nevada was just better at the little things of playing the wide receiver position than Christian Watson at the moment. Now, again, you're not drafting for at the moment. So, fan of that pick. The Zach Tom one is electric. I think he's going to be your swing tackle to tackle replacement for, when whoever does, if they can't re-sign Elkin Jenkins, if David Bakhtiari doesn't come back healthy, that's that guy. And then Kingston Egbury gets to learn from Preston Smith, who they're like nearly identical from a build perspective.
Take, yeah.
They are like, that's the same guy in terms of skill set. So love all those picks. My favorite one, though, has to be Devontae Wyatt. That's a guy, talent-wise. Obviously, we talked about why he fell, but like talent-wise is a much better prospect than that in this draft and could hit the ground running at the NFL level. So they got a lot better defensively. This is a damn good defense now.
Yeah.
Still worried about the
I really like the draft in hindsight. I was going to say maybe go down to a B, but Devontae Wyatt pick I love. I like the Zach Tom and Kingsley and Agbury picks. And honestly, with Quay Walker, your comp for him was Devondre Campbell, right? And like drafting players that fit into the defense that you're running, and even having models, role models there that can work them up, I think is fantastic.
And Sean Ryan, that guy has tools for O-line. To go with Adam Stenovich, with how well the UCLA tackle in the third, with how well they've developed, that's don't be surprised if he turns out to be a damn good guard.
Latest one from the YouTube chat. Grip it and rip it. That's solid. Maybe for the male one.
Yeah.
All right, Houston Texans. Derek Stingley Jr. at 3, love. Kenyon Green, did not like, and I wasn't willing to say it. I was on day 1 of the draft show, and the boss was like, I love Kenyon Green, top 15 pick. I wasn't going to go toe-to-toe with Chris. I was like, yeah, Chris, agreed. No, I don't really like Kenyon Green pick. That was overdrafted. I don't think Kenyon Green was a top 15 player.
That's what limited this draft grade, but I love the other picks.
So they go Jalen Petrie, which I love. Stingley, Petrie, Mechie, Harris, and then even Dameon Pierce at the top of round 4. This was a good draft. I think B+ is fair though, because I don't like the Kenyon Green pick. I don't think that was the value. Now they did trade down right from 13 to 15, so you get some value there. But still, I don't think Kenyon Green was the top 15 player in this draft. So I can't. It was my least favorite pick. My favorite pick was probably Stingley at 3.
Yeah, and if you wanted like a guard tackle versatile guy, I thought both Zion Johnson and Tyler Smith were better options. Maybe he's a little more advanced than Tyler Smith, but. That's the one holding back. And then Stingley, I love that pick. I think that's going to be my favorite pick just because there's 2 on the PFF draft board, get him at 3. And just the process behind just identifying talent and saying, I'm going to believe, and I believe. Mechie 1, that's where he goes. That's where he's on the board if he doesn't tear his ACL. So if you have inside intel, that's like, obviously I do, in terms of his injury and rehab, sure, by all means. That's fine. Yeah, even I don't even hate the Christian Harris pick at 75. I thought he was going to go higher than that, so fine with that there.
B+ officially for me for the Houston Texans. Like I said, Stingley, Petrie, love those selections, and Mechie and Harris where they got him I think was fine. Kenyon Green just slightly overdrafted, and not even to the point where like, oh my God, Kenyon Green. It's not like Cole Strange levels of reach here. Like he was a consensus top 35 player, right? I mean, he might even have been top 32 on the consensus board. Yeah. So not an aggressive reach. I'm just not a huge fan of it. So I can't be overconfident in my own evaluation of Green. You still have to respect where the Houston Texans got him. I think B+ is a good piece for them. Indianapolis Colts, I think arguably could be lower.
Really?
Because the first line of the draft grades article, the Colts trade away their first-round pick as part of the Carson Wentz trade last year.
Yeah,
you didn't have a first-round pick this year, because you shit the bed and traded for Carson Wentz. That needs to be factored in here.
That does.
That needs to be factored in. I would go down to – it's a B+ on the article. I like Alec Pierce. I think Jelani Woods at 73 is great. Bernard Ryman was one of the elite grades we gave on day 2. Nick Cross, phenomenal at 96. Curtis Brooks at 216. The defense tackle from Cincinnati. Love all those. But you did not have a first-round pick this year because you bet on a player that stinks. I think you could go B. I'm going to go from B+ to B. I'm staying B because Carson Wentz needs to wear some of this.
So here, look at it this way: that they then traded away Wentz for one of those thirds, and it was Bernard Raymond was the third. So
that's what keeps him from going to the C.
Bernard Raymond as a first, you would have said that's cool. We would like that pick. So
I'm going B. I'm still going B. B+ is too rich. Ballard needs to wake up here.
Yeah.
If we just keep giving Ballard this confidence, he's going to he's going to slip up sometimes. I think B is fine for the Colts.
Yeah, I like Raymond's obviously my favorite pick. My least favorite is going to be Alec Pierce. He's such a one-trick guy. I just don't see him ever becoming more than pure go balls. And not a lot of guys can get by at just that in the NFL. I don't know. I just think he's a limited receiver. And that pick 53 was their first pick. It's a pretty premium pick. So I just that's the only one. Now he could prove me wrong. It could be a monster, but I'm just lower on him.
Favorite pick, Bernard Ryman at 77, obviously. I also really like the Nick Cross pick at 96. He still has to learn the safety position, but man can fly, and I think that's solid enough, right? And Curtis Brooks, too, at 216. Brooks is a great pick. Staying at B, though. Staying at B. Chris Ballard got to be better. Jacksonville Jaguars, or update on the par 69 and the sand trap.
I like par 69.
Par 69. Can you not grin like that when you
par
say
69 it? It's out the box.
All right, Jacksonville Jaguars. We're not going to like this draft. They drafted our the 12th ranked player on our board at 1, right? And Trayvon Walker, we've talked about 1,000 times, right? We don't have to freaking beat it in. We did not think Trayvon Walker was better than Aiden Hutchinson. We did not think Trayvon Walker was better than Kayvon Thibodeau, right? Trayvon Walker was the number 1 overall. It's going to be very difficult to come away with this draft in the B range. Devin Lloyd, too. They trade back up into the first round to go get Devin Lloyd, who is a great player. PFF's like LB1, but still a low-value position. Then they grabbed Luke Fortner at 65, who we did not even have over his teammate Darian Kennard. He's a center, low-value position. Then they draft another linebacker, Chad Muma, at 70. Low-value position, probably where we take him off the board. But when you think about it from a process standpoint, you make Foye Aluakin a top five paid linebacker. Mm-hmm. You trade up into the first round, back into the first round for Devin Lloyd. And then you grab Chad Muma at the 70. That's just, you don't even play that many linebackers.
Yeah, honestly, I went C+. I think I should have gone lower.
I think solid
just because
C.
They had
I did not like the Snoop Connor pick. I didn't like the Gregory Jr. pick.
They came in with so much draft capital and such premium spots to get talent, and they got one pick I like. And
which one was the one?
Devin Lloyd. And even
then you're trading up for it though. What was the trade officially?
And just from a process standpoint, the rest was rough. Like the Chad Muma pick just makes no sense. I just don't get it. You can't play 3 linebackers in today's NFL. You just don't. It's we talk about certain position, defensive line, guys will see the field in rotations. Linebacker, cornerbacks, drafting backups, those guys will see the field nickel dime at like high leverage situations. Chad Muma, if he's seeing the field, it's not high leverage situations. It is against first down, against heavy packages. That's going to be probably it. That's just not a role. So like that, using a top 70 pick and nothing against Chad Muma and talent. That's where I would have drafted him. But damn, like there were just a lot better players on the board. They were just a lot more impactful to that roster on the board when they were drafting them.
I'm disappointed. And the trade up for Lloyd was they gave up pick 33, obviously.
That was their best move.
Yeah.
That was their best move.
And they only gave up 106 and 180, right? My thought on trade ups is if you're trading up on day 1 or day 2 and you're only giving up outside the top 100 picks to do so, oftentimes I'm not overly concerned. But then you compare that to like the Christian Watson trade up. Like they traded 2 top 60 picks to go up and get Christian Watson. What the Jags did to go get Lloyd is not nearly as egregious as maybe as I build it as. But still, I give it a C. I don't love the draft. Trayvon Walker was picked at 1. Trayvon Walker was not a top 10 or was a top 10 player for me, but he was at I think like 8. All right, Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, fuck. This draft was insane. They literally drafted off the draft guide. They might have had the PDF. Kansas City Chiefs are PFF Elite subscribers.
Yeah.
They grabbed Trent McDuffie at 21, who they traded up for. But still, let's look at that trade. I don't think it was overly egregious. And he was the number 11 player on PFF's draft board. Then they stay put at 30. Grabbed George Karlaftis, Purdue edge that we had as a top 10 player on both our boards. Then Sky Moore at 54, who the Packers could have grabbed if they stayed. Instead.
Don't rhyme me.
Instead, because the Packers had 53. Instead, they trade up for Christian Watson, who I think Sky Moore is a better prospect than Watson. Then you have Brian Cook, who Luke Fickell raved about on this podcast. At 62, maybe a bit richer than where we would have picked him, but still a good football player. Leo Chanel, top 40 player on PFF's draft board. Darian Kennard, top 60 player on PFF's draft board. Even Nazee Johnson at 259. I did not hate. Kansas City Chiefs, man, this is an A+ draft, even including the trade up for McDuffie.
Yeah, so we're not like the only ones high in this draft, I will say. It wasn't just off the PFF draft board. They were getting guys who, even on consensus boards, were higher than this. But they were also guys that we also would stick our neck out and say, these guys are better than where they're going to go, even before. Like, these were guys we were higher on. So I've quite literally not seen a draft like this. I started doing our drafts off a 2019 draft. 4 drafts now. This is the one that was the closest to actually using the PFF draft board through the first 2 days.
Yeah.
Four of their 5 picks
gave it a B.
4 of their 5 picks were the top player on our board at the time. Like that's just I haven't seen that. That was insane for me. So quite obviously they're gonna get an A+.
A+ draft for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think my favorite pick was George Karlaftis, one of the biggest steals of the draft.
Sky Moore.
That guy's gonna immediately come in.
Gonna rake.
My favorite pick of round 1, George Karlaftis, of all teams. My favorite pick of round 2, Sky Moore, of all teams. Chiefs got my favorite pick in round 1 and round 2. It's insane. All right.
My least favorite is probably Isaiah Pacheco, round 7. Reach.
Pacheco?
No, there's no least favorite pick. It was what a draft.
Skins game? Someone said skins game?
Yeah.
What the hell is skins?
It's a golf term for like winning a hole. That's actually a very good one. That's a good deep cut.
Worm burner? I don't know some of these. I don't play golf.
Oh, dude, they're coming with it today. These are very good.
I think this is a good segment. I don't even know if it's technically a segment, but I think the people enjoy it. All right, Las Vegas Raiders. I was ready to give this an A-, honestly, until the Zamir White pick. I didn't really like the Zamir White pick.
I like the Zamir White pick.
So they trade down from 86 to 90 to grab Dylan Parham, who I think is going to start for them right away. And you get a starter at 90. I think that's impressive. Zamir White, when you already have Josh Jacobs and you're paying Kenyon Drake as one of like a top 15 paid running backs, grab him at 122. I did not love it. But then after that, trenches, baby. Neil Farrell Jr., loved it. Comp for him and the guide is Jonathan Hankins. Love that. Matthew Butler, I think, is a value at 175. Thayer Mumford, who did get roasted by Aiden Hutchinson in that game. You kick him into guard, I think he's going to have more success in the NFL. And then Britton Brown, you take it or leave it. Another running back doesn't make a ton of sense. That running back room is loaded.
I thought he just played guard in that game. I don't remember him getting roasted.
No, Thayer Munford got kicked out to guard for tackle, and that's the play where Aiden Hutchinson said, "Bring it, bitch," and blasted him.
I thought that was Petit Frere.
I'm going to double check, but I thought that was him.
Petit. Dylan Parham, though, so they didn't have a lot of capital, obviously. Trade the first, second away for Devontae Adams, but Parham knocked that one out the park. He starts day 1, probably left guard. And I even like the Zamir White pick. He's a different kind of back than Josh Jacobs. Much more of a no-nonsense runner and has a little more explosiveness, a little faster than Josh Jacobs too. So fits more of what the Patriots, Josh McDaniels, schematically, what they do is at the running back position. So, and it was pick 122. So not even gonna hate that. B+ draft.
And it was Thayer Mumford. So screw you.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. So I did a podcast with Aiden Hutchinson, so I might know these things, but I'm looking it up, and he was asked if Hutchinson was the toughest thing he faced. And he said, not really. My toughest matchup was in practice. Talk about cope. Guy got legitimately
he faced – what's his face?
The Bosa's. Chase Young.
Yeah, Chase Young.
But still, he got burnt by the Hutch. I give this class a B+ for the Raids. I didn't like this. I don't like the Zamir White pick as much as other people do. It doesn't make sense with how deep that running back room already is, and then they grab Britton Brown as well. What Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels pretty much said over the last 5 days is this roster's ass. They didn't pick up any of the fifth-year options on the first-round picks from 2019, Cleveland Farrell, Josh Jacobs, and Jonathan Abram. And then they said, hey, yeah, we have Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake, but we're going to go running backs here. We're going to go get Zamir White and Britton Brown. They don't like the defensive tackle group. They grab Neil Farrell, Matthew Butler. And they don't like the interior offensive line. They grab Thayer Munford and Dylan Parham. Now, do they desperately need help in the secondary? I think outside cornerback specifically, yeah. Casey Hayward gone. But I really like this Raiders draft. It's a breath of fresh air, I'll tell you that. And sometimes that's just because they don't have a first-round pick, or a second-round pick in this case.
I do love the people because we get noted as Raiders haters when I literally I couldn't care less about hating your NFL team.
What Raiders haters?
Besides the Bears.
How's this? Raiders shirt today.
Exactly. It's
Raiders shirt. I'm from Oakland. I was a Raiders fan. I was there at the game for Jamarcus Russell's first completed pass. I was there when we were screaming, Russell, trying to get him in the game because he had that cap. We thought he was going to be the Messiah. He obviously wasn't. But
we were not wrong about the last 3 Raiders drafts.
We were not wrong about the last 2 Raiders draft classes. We weren't. All right. And you have to include Devontae Adams in the grade. Mm-hmm. Trading for Devontae Adams objectively makes this team better. Now, are they going to finish 4th in division? Sure. Sure. I think they're over under set at 8.
There's a good chance.
8 wins, I think, next year, or 8.5. And I'd probably bet the under. It's a tough-ass division. To make the playoffs, they're plus 160. It's going to be difficult next year. But that doesn't mean the team is not good. I think they'd win the AFC South. I'll say that. All right. Next on our list is the Los Angeles Chargers. I liked the Chargers draft. A little bit.
I did too.
Zion Johnson at 17 was a check the box. Love to see it. Exactly what they needed. And, some people, the receivers available there were not fantastic. I think going Zion Johnson at 17, immediately, they come out of round 1 as a winner. Did not love, however, the JT Woods pick. I did not like the Isaiah Spiller pick.
Yeah.
And then to
Tom
round 5.
Telesco's addicted to drafting these, low-end athlete running backs.
Not a fan.
Addicted. Even though it's the starting running back there is maybe the most athletic running back in the NFL. Austin Eckler,
yeah.
But
Otito Ognaya, I think at 160 is good. Jamari Salyer, one of the value picks of day 3. I think he can come in and play interior.
Yeah, I think Salyer's my favorite pick. I need word on why he wasn't higher. Maybe I texted someone. I needed to get some inside info and send it over to you guys because his teammate Justin Schaefer got drafted higher.
That's wild.
I was just like, what the fuck? Jamari Salyer. If you ask any Ohio State fan, he's like a god because he shut down Aiden Hutchinson, according to them, even though he didn't. But Jamari Salyer was a much better pick than, by all accounts, than 195th overall. So that's my favorite one. Least favorite one's probably Isaiah Spiller, but I'm not going to argue what it is. 123. If that's your least favorite pick, they had a solid draft. JT Woods, for that scheme, obviously he's lower on the PFF draft board, but could not have gone to a better place. What I love about that pick, though, using I guess it's not such a premium pick, but 79 overall, I do wonder if Derwin's a linebacker next year.
Wow.
And just get rid of the safety tag. Because JT Woods can fly. He's a pure deep guy. And obviously
they still have Adderley, though.
And they still have Adderley, who's a little bit more versatile, but JT Woods, your pure deep guy in that scheme, taking safeties out of run fits is a perfect place for him to go because Duke cannot tackle.
I'm going to go B here.
I went B as well.
Zion Johnson and Jamari Salyer are my favorite picks. Offensive line, those are great. Los Angeles Rams, no first-round pick, no second-round pick.
I hate giving grades to drafts like this.
Yeah, it's tough. It's difficult. Logan Bruss, offensive lineman from Wisconsin, was their first pick of the draft at 104. Then they grabbed Jacoby Durant of South Carolina State at 142. Kyron Williams, talk about unathletic. Notre Dame running back goes at 164, fellow Golden Domer.
Darian Kendrick.
Talk about unathletic. And then they grabbed someone named Russ
40
Yeast.
in my range.
I don't even know who Russ Yeast is. Do you know who Russ Yeast is?
I don't, actually.
You gave this draft a C+. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough one to draft. It's a tough one to grade.
I do think Logan Bruss starts them, so maybe a little higher than that. Logan Bruss
when you don't have any top 100 picks, it's hard to
exactly.
It's almost like incomplete, right? Yeah. You didn't draft enough to even really.
I give this and the Dolphins one. I said the draft's 120 picks long. They had one pick in there, and I actually kind of liked it. So I'll just say incomplete.
I love it. Miami Dolphins. They also didn't have a lot of picks, and they also didn't have a top 100 pick. Channing Tindall, though.
Why'd I go B- for this one?
You didn't like it?
I like the Rams haul better than this haul.
Fair. They go Channing Tindall.
I don't know why.
Because they traded for Tyreek Hill. Then they go Eric Azukana.
Azukama.
Okay. Texas Tech. Cameron Good. Cal Edge at 224, and then Skylar Thompson at 247. Kansas State, who could compete for the starting job there. No. I like the Tindall pick a lot. I thought he was a top 50 player in this class. I mean,
50.
I think Channing Tindall's awesome.
Woo.
I think Tindall in the right role. He's a pointed gun. I said this on the pod. He's a pointed gun. If you point him in the right direction, this guy's going to hit it. I think the issue will be, or the challenge will be, him getting past that and obviously developing into more of an instinctual player.
Yeah, I gave it a B-, but honestly, I like the Rams haul better. So let me flip that to a C+, the Rams to B-.
I like that. Flipped.
Flip.
Minnesota Vikings draft I did not like, period. I was not a fan of this.
Really? You loved Andrew Booth, dude.
I loved Andrew Booth, but outside of that, I was not. And Brian Asamoah, but the trade down for what they got made no sense. Lewis Cine at 32, I like Lewis Cine. I like Andrew Booth, but the trade down was really confusing. Really confusing.
I think we saw Questy, though, really plant his flag on the coverage versus pass rush debate. He went
for sure.
Coverage, dude. They've redefined. I think this draft, we could look back at it and think it's a lot better than it was.
Fair.
A lot better than the B.
I do like the players they got. I guess I think the thing that stands out to me the most is the trade back, because I thought they could have got more, like a future first. Not getting a future first in that trade is absurd.
I agree. It just seemed like, yes, from our perspective, we say they got value, but you can't operate just based off of that because the market usually provides more value. You have to operate off of the Jimmy Johnson model that the teams looking to trade up use. So
here's the take. I wish they grabbed Jamison Williams at 12. That would have been sick.
instead of that. What it turned into Ed Ingram and Lewis Cine.
Yeah.
One Jameson Williams versus Ed Ingram and Lewis Cine. Yeah, I probably do lean agreeing with you there. But
so they go Lewis Cine at 32, Andrew Booth Jr., who fell largely due to injury. I think he's the first-round type of talent. I had him top 15 on my board, so I do like that one. Ed Ingram needs work in pass protection, but the run blocking grade was fantastic. You are a huge fan of Brian Asamoah's game. He gets there at 66. After that, Ty Chandler, North Carolina at 169. Jalen Naylor.
Barely.
Nowhere. Michigan State, 191. And Nick Muse, South Carolina, at 227. I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh. I don't like the trade up. I think solid B is fine. B- I think would be being harsh on the trade back, but I think solid B is fine.
Solid B.
Favorite pick is probably Booth at 42.
My favorite pick's Asamoah. Booth fell for injury. Can't pump those up too much. You know, like
fine. Sorry,
I'm just saying.
My favorite pick was
book.
Speedy Naylor.
Can't pump that up too much. Like when you know a guy falls for that reason. But it is a great pick.
Ooh.
My least favorite's Ed Ingram at 59.
All right, the update on the golf club / strip club,
okay.
Pebble Beaches, and then the approach, which I think is weird.
Yeah.
The approach is more of a brothel.
Both of those are kind of
and you're not golfing at a brothel.
Flubbers would be a bad name for a strip club. Flubs.
Oh, God. I don't think it would be a good one. All right, New England Patriots. Yikes. Lowest draft grade in the class, easily. And that's the consensus lowest and our lowest. I mean, I don't know if anyone gave this. I mean, looking at.
I don't want to go back and look at consensus lowest because I have my dumb take is that consensus lowest is usually like they don't hit. Like consensus lowest almost never. I can't remember a consensus like bottom 3. Just the odds of those being good drafts is almost never.
And they're the only they're not only the consensus lowest, but when you look at all the teams in the bottom 6, they didn't have first-round picks. Like Niners didn't have a first-round pick, did they?
No.
Yeah. So Cardinals, Niners, Bears, Dolphins, Rams, and the Pats. Like all the other ones, like
didn't have
first-round picks. Cole Strange obviously was the Patriots' first-round pick. And anytime I went on this rant the last time, you take a player that is so far down on the consensus board, when 87% of the players in the top 32 on the consensus board were taken in the first round, you are not leveraging the data that you have at hand. You are being dealt an 18 and hitting on 18. And if Cole Strange becomes a future Hall of Famer, that's hitting on 18 and getting a 3. But that's still not good process. It's not good process to bet on situations like an unfavorable situation.
What do you think about what I floated on the show though? On day 3, saying that like they lost Dave Ziegler and a lot of their scouting staff to the Raiders.
Had to have been a factor.
Kind of not late in the process, but like lost a big chunk that they had to replace throughout this process that they just didn't have a handle on, or maybe just like handle on valuing these guys correctly.
This is a D grade, a firm D grade for the New England Patriots to grab Cole Strange at Chattanooga at 29, who's a good player.
Yeah.
You drafted him too high. And wide receiver Tyquan Thornton at Baylor, yeah, that's the skill set that they needed, right? But like, I would have liked Calvin Austin Jr. better here, and they got him in. That guy got picked in the 4th. I don't understand the Tyquan Thornton pick as high as he was. Marcus Jones is probably my favorite pick of their entire draft. Marcus Jones is good.
Drafted Tyquan Thornton above even like Alec Pierce, who's as fast on a football field, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He didn't run as fast at the combine, but on a football field, as fast and much bigger, more projectable. Like the worst part about this to me, not only like reaching for players. Love Marcus Jones. That's my favorite pick.
Yeah, and Belichick said he wants to play Marcus Jones on both sides of the ball, which I think could make it an overly valuable pick.
I'll believe when I see it, but that's sick. That'd be sick if they do. But it's just you're capped in the impact these guys can make. You know, like Cole Strange, ideal scenario for him becomes Shaq Mason, who you just had.
You traded for a 5th.
And you traded for a 5th. And the chances of that happening are probably pretty low because he was top 5 right guard in the NFL. Tyquan Thornton, the upside for him, because he is not a dynamic athlete. He is a straight line speed guy who's 6'2", 180. Upside for him is your deep threat. That's capped at that. He's not, 50th overall pick. That's where A.J. Brown went. He ain't turning into A.J. Brown. Like the contract he's getting is not going to be in that range should he hit.
Yeah. Just
like the contracts these guys would get if they hit. And Marcus Jones, for as talented as he is, and I love him, he was actually higher than that in the PFF.
He's a return man and a slot corner.
Exactly. The contract that guy's going to get if he hits, if everything turns out great, is still way lower than where the market is. Way lower than the top of the market. It's still like a mid-tier level contract. So your upside, if you did evaluate this draft, if you evaluate these guys perfectly, the money you're saving yourself over just going out and signing a Will Fuller to be your speed guy in your offense, over signing one of the best slot corners in the NFL, over signing a starting guard for you, is so low.
Yeah, no,
is so low.
That I think got under discussed and everyone just like reacting to like I didn't have Cole Strange higher on my board. Yeah. What the other issues are? These are Tyquan Thornton, Marcus Jones, Cole Strange, like low value in terms of skill sets, right? And what they get on their second contracts. And then you go into the round 4, round 6. Pierre Strong Jr., running back. Kevin Harris, running back. Backup QB Bailey Zappi.
Well, Jack Jones, another like skinny cornerback who's 24 years old and broke into a Panda Express.
Did he?
Yeah.
What did he get?
One of my favorite stories of the draft.
Oh my God, I need to see this.
Jack Jones? Was just for a little orange chicken. I don't blame him.
Oh no, Doug Kyde wrote about that story. It was not for a little orange chicken. Fuck off. He broke into a Panda Express at 3 a.m.
Dude, at 3 a.m., that's how I feel. That's what I feel like usually.
He said he felt it was all part of God's plan. No. No, he didn't. Former USC cornerback Jack, this is from the LA Times. Former USC quarterback Jack Jones talked to the Times on Tuesday night, keeping a positive outlook on his dismissal from the program on academic grounds and dealing with his plan to get into big time. He said it was all part of God's plan. 2 nights later, after talking to the Times, at 3:45 Friday morning, Jones was arrested in Santa Paula, suspicion of commercial burglary under $950. Under $950, not during business hours, and conspiracy to commit crime. 2 felony charges. Broke into a Panda Express.
Yep.
Brutal scene. Brutal scene. All righty. Oh, one of my favorite strip club names so far.
Yeah.
So someone said it was Zach Phillips. Said free strokes, but I just like strokes. If it was just strokes, you guys go to
strokes.
Hey, you going to strokes later?
I like strokes. I think that might be my favorite.
I think strokes has been up there. What was Caddy Crack? What was the one you liked the more? I don't remember which ones we liked more.
Skins game or
skins game or
skins. Just skins was good.
Skins is interesting. All right, New Orleans Saints. Can we talk about this trade up for Chris Olave?
Yes.
Traded, so this is the pick. The 16th overall pick was what they got from the Eagles when they traded a future second.
Future first and a very future second.
Yeah, 2023 first, 2024 second.
And I think it was also this year's fourth or third, one of those two.
That was to get pick 16.
Yes.
And then they trade up from 16 to 11, sending 2 third-round picks to go get Chris Olave. Mickey Loomis is the most aggressive drafter in the NFL history.
Yeah, so Chris Olave cost them, obviously, the pick that he was picked with. 2 thirds this year, a fourth this year, a first next year, and a second in 2024. Five picks.
5 all them, like top 120 picks.
Yeah,
top
3 of them fairly
picks.
high to get one Chris Olave. And I'm not even like, I'm fine with drafting Chris Olave.
I love Olave.
I have no problem with drafting Chris Olave at 11. He's going to be he's a fit. He's going to impact that offense. He's going to be fantastic for them. But that's so much draft capital for one guy that he goes out and, gets hurt. Like it's just putting a lot of eggs in one basket that, as we've seen, they've been good in these scenarios. Don't get me wrong. They've been good. But when you are good at evaluating talent, you want more picks to do so.
Olave is a phenomenal player. He was my wide receiver 2 in this class. Top 15 player on my board. If picking him at 11 in a vacuum is phenomenal. I like Chris Olave. Hey, guess what? You know who should probably pick him at 11? It's fucking Washington Commanders, who traded out of there and picked another receiver that I was lower on. The consensus people were lower on. Chris Olave at 11 is not the problem. The problem is you traded 5 players to get him. Essentially, you traded 5 players for Chris Olave, which like that I don't think gets discussed enough in these trades. Mm-hmm. Right? Oh, that pick's low. Think of any. Is there any player worth 5 players? That's a lot. It's a lot of players. 5 players is a lot. And especially if they're top 140 picks. That's crazy. Future first and a future second. Chris Olave has to be like a god to be better than those picks.
And the Saints straight up need cheap players as well,
So then at 19, they grabbed Trevor Penning, who you and I are a lot lower on. Seth is lower on. But consensus-wise, he was a top 25 player in this class. So, us hating the Trevor Penning pick, I think, would be being overconfident in our own evaluations of Penning. We're not going to like it, but I don't think it's nearly as egregious as the trade-up was for Olave, and we love Olave. Mm-hmm. With Penning, it's like you're getting a tackle. You needed a tackle. You didn't trade up to go get him. Are we lower on him than? Yeah, but like other people like him, and maybe you can't develop him, right? You're taking a bet on Penning. Respect it. The Alante Taylor pick, he was not even a consensus top 100 player, was he? Like this was another like kind of significant reach. Taylor from Tennessee, the corner. And then after that, they didn't have any other top 100 picks. They grabbed DeMarco Jackson, the linebacker from App State, and then Jordan Jackson of Air Force, the defensive tackle. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I went C+. Chris Olave, my favorite pick, still, even after all I gave up. But Alontae Taylor, probably my least favorite. That didn't make sense.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Saints C+. I think you'd go C here, honestly. I think C is probably more fair if you weren't trying to be so nice in the grades.
That's very nice.
I'm going to go C, actually. New York Giants. I really like their haul. They had some layups, but then they killed it. They killed me when they grabbed Wan'Dale Robinson at 43. I did not like that pick.
Yeah. And then I thought Azudu was a reach at 67. I thought there were better guards on the board. He went before Dylan Parham. Just would have leaned that way.
So 5 and 7, I think, were both just slam dunks, right? You got pitched a 60-mile-an-hour home run derby, and you're just like, dang.
Exactly.
Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan
They
Neal
just
were
didn't
great picks.
screw it up.
Yeah.
We said that pre-draft with them. We're like 5 and 7 was there was going to be value there. There were going to be great players at the positions they needed. So just
we know too.
Whoever it was, they weren't going to screw it up.
Talking to reporters and other people, they wanted one of the corners, and they didn't get a chance at one of the corners, right? Ahmad Gardner and Derek Stanley Jr. were already off the board, so they go to the trenches. Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal, dingers, like I said. Home run derby, you got served up. The Wan'Dale Robinson pick, I would have rather had, obviously, Malik Willis here. Malik Willis at 43, and I know he fell a lot further than that, and maybe we're being overconfident in our evaluation of Willis, but, geez. Wan'Dale Robinson essentially is going to have to play the same role as Kadarius Toney. And so if you don't move Kadarius Toney, and maybe they like him at outside receiver, they're developing him as a route runner, but I like Toney in the Wan'Dale Robinson role, but one of them's got to have to play it. You can't have two of those types in an offense. So I worry about that. I worry about the catch radius with Robinson. He was successful with Will Levis, but being that small and having those sort of arms does not have a lot of historical success in the NFL.
Yeah. I didn't even like him as much as I like Calvin Austin as a prospect.
Yeah, same.
And Austin went 2 rounds later, that's where you draft a guy like that, in my opinion. 4th round. You draft the gadget-ish guys in the 4th round. If you don't, he just and his wingspan's 6 inches shorter than
makes no sense.
Calvin Austin's.
Darian Beavers probably was. If Kayvon Thibodeau was my favorite pick in the draft in this draft class, but I also like Darian Beavers at 182.
Evan Neal's probably my favorite pick. I like Beavers. I like Bellinger. I like Belton. I do think they got talent. Don't get me wrong. They're a much better team post this draft, but they were always going to be because they had an unbelievable. I think they had the second most draft capital of a team in this draft.
Yeah.
So they were always going to come away with talent. I just do think those second and top of the 3rd round picks, they could have really knocked this one out.
Of the 18, gone differently. Of the 18 media outlets that had draft grades, we had the lowest grade on the Giants at B-.
But again, we're trying to evaluate pick by pick.
Yeah.
Not just not just haul. Not just it's a over average, not a total.
Exactly. New York Jets. I love the Jets draft. Now, I loved it in rounds with pick 4 and 10. And then after, I think there were some questionable selections. Ahmad Gardner and Garrett Wilson at 4 and 10 were, again, similar to the Giants situation. Ding, ding.
Yeah.
Jermaine Johnson, the trade back up, was where you'd pick Jermaine Johnson. Trading more capital for him, I don't think makes it as I think it's more of a double or triple than it is a home run selection at 26.
Yeah.
Then trading up for Breece Hall.
That one was
the trade up for Breece Hall was aggressive. That's aggressive.
But the thing I said on the show, and that I still do believe, is that they are almost complete as a roster now. With as many picks they've had, with as much as they've invested in free agency, really the only spot where you could say maybe you could upgrade was tackle. But you have George Fant there, who's fine. There weren't roster spots available really outside of running back. They have starters everywhere. Now, could they improve their starters? Probably, but Breece Hall, we said there's 2 backs in this class. And obviously the whole Shanahan tree just loves drafting them to running backs. So if there are 2 backs in the class that are actual running backs in the NFL, starters, they got one of them. So I don't hate it too much.
And honestly, the trade for Jermaine Johnson, again, it's another outside the top 100 pick. They traded number 35 and number 101 to go up 26. It's not super aggressive.
From a talent evaluation standpoint, every single pick, though, is a talented player. I'm not questioning the talent and where they went from a talent evaluation standpoint. Up until Michael Clemens, just a little high. very semi-board. But Max Mitchell, Jeremy Ruckert, Breece Hall, Jermaine Johnson, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, they knocked it out from a talent evaluation.
And they only moved 2 spots to go get Breece Hall anyway. They traded from 38. They traded 38 and a fifth to go get Breece Hall. So, I don't know.
I went A-.
I think you could argue B+ here. I think you could. But I think A- is probably accurate.
Sauce
I thought I was going to come on this podcast and rip the Jets draft, but like when you look at, they traded 101 and a fifth to go up and get Jermaine and go up and get Breece, which is not all that egregious, especially when you think about Jermaine Johnson. Like some people viewed him as a top 10 player in this class, and to get him at 26, along with Gardner, along with Wilson, and now you have Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Jeremy Ruckert. They brought in C.J. Uzomah. They obviously have Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, Corey Davis. I think they're doing a lot. And Max Mitchell, I thought in round 4 was a value. They're doing a lot to help this young kid, Zach Wilson, who I think has the best supporting cast of any of the second-year quarterbacks. A- for the Jets. A- for the Jets. Philadelphia Eagles. They trade for A.J. Brown and give him a contract, which I thought was phenomenal business. They get Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean at 13 and 83 respectively. Cam Jurgens was a reach where we saw him on the board, but still a Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce replacement. I am a huge fan of what the Eagles did because I love it. I love it from a process standpoint. You're betting on Jalen Hurts developing. Let's give him every reason to develop. Let's get an offensive lineman. Let's get A.J. Brown, and let's make sure we can cook with this team. And that, in my opinion, is phenomenal business for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then you factor in they got 2 of the best Georgia defensive players they had, in Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean. And now Dean obviously has the injury, and I think needs to probably, even if he takes a redshirt year though, like even if Nakobe Dean doesn't play this year and he just spends the entire year rehabbing, and he comes back 100%, this is gonna be one of the steals of the draft easily because Nakobe Dean is a phenomenal football player.
Yeah, that's why the Eagles don't draft linebackers in the first round, because there's always talent available in second and third. So great draft from the Eagles. Least favorite is probably Cam Jurgens, but like ideal landing spot. You could not have picked a better place for him to go, considering who he was as a prospect. This just athletic marvel who is really still learning how to play a center position. So yeah, Eagles. I went flat A for the Birds.
I think flat A is great.
Nation.
I think flat A is great for Flock Nation. Putts and butts.
They're all Flock Nation. What
do you think of putts and butts? I think that's kind of
a little too on the nose.
Yeah,
we're trying to get
on the nose and also kind of elementary.
Yeah.
Right. Putts and butts is like for like an 18-year-old plus strip club. I think you need something a little bit more classy. Putts and butts, you go in, they immediately offer you a cig. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers. At 20, they grabbed Kenny Pickett. And to pause here, Kenny Pickett, Pittsburgh. We weren't super high on Kenny Pickett, but he was a consensus top 40 player. And like you can't be overconfident in your evaluation of Pickett and say he's not going to pan out. My thing is there's no way if the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't pick Pickett at 20 that he wouldn't have been available for, in my opinion, wouldn't have been available at 52. No way is obviously egregious. Who knows what people's evaluations of Pickett. But to see all those quarterback-needy teams pass on quarterback in rounds 2 and 3 and let a Willis, Corral, Howell fall to the 5th. Carson Strong fell out of the draft. I just don't think the Steelers were the only team that had Kenny Pickett 2 like standard deviations above rest of this quarterback class, right? I bet you if you asked Mike Tomlin how close were the evaluations between Pickett and Willis, he might say he had Willis ahead of Pickett, or they were really close. I think if Kenny Pickett isn't drafted at 20, he's available at 52. Just given how the rest of the league viewed the rest of these quarterbacks, I think he takes a slide. So I think Kenny Pickett can't be overconfident in your own evaluation. I think he can be successful. I'll tell you what, though, Mitchell Trubisky's going to fight him for that job. And Tomlin's going to let him compete. Tomlin's not, just giving people jobs. And then Kevin Colbert, this is his last year as a GM. I think he wanted to end on a fader, end on a little cheeky fadeaway, say, hey, I got your quarterback, just like the Ravens.
Yeah, he wanted to have his Ozzie Newsome moment.
Exactly. And he's like, I'm not going to leave the first round without a QB. And they made that clear with how they attacked the process 100%. So I didn't love the Kenny Pickett pick. I'm not going to dog him for it because he's still a top 40 player. It's not an egregious reach. And then I really liked what they did for the rest of the draft. George Pickens at 52. DeMarvin Leal at 84. Calvin Austin at 138. All 3 of those picks were values in my opinion. I think it's a B+ draft. I'm not giving it an A- because I am concerned with how the league as a whole viewed this quarterback class and how far ahead Pickett went ahead of over everyone else. But still, I think they hit it out of the park on round 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah. Side note, you think you can go the rest of this pod without saying overconfident in your own evaluation?
Yes.
Think it's even possible?
To.
5 more teams?
I'm going to.
Do you think you could?
Here and out.
All right. I think that's why I'm most happy the draft is over. I'm not actually happy the draft is over, but no more overconfidence. No, Kenny Pickett, 20. Whatever. You guys know my take. It's going to be on that. But George Pickens, Marvin Leal, love their day too. Like those are – Marvin Leal is another kind of, Sam Howell-esque. If we have this draft last year, he goes 60 picks higher. Sam Howell goes 100 picks higher if we have this draft last year. So not that the talent went anywhere, but it's like why did it not work? Why did it not keep going forward? So like those picks, and then Calvin Austin. Like they know how to scout wideouts.
Receiving core, dude.
They know how to scout wideouts.
Pickett or Trubisky is going to have some weapons. Mm-hmm. George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Pat Freiermuth, Calvin Austin, Connor Hayward at fullback.
Poof.
How about the Steelers really investing in brothers?
Fullback.
I was talking to Ben Lindsay, who's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. He's an analyst here at PFF. They have the Haywards, the Watts, the Davises. Remember the two?
Is it going to be a competition between the Haywards and the Watts though? Because what if they cut Watts' brother for Hayward's brother?
Oh, that's right.
That'd be fucked.
That's kind of screwed. I think they're going to keep him. There's no way you draft him and cut him. I don't know. Maybe you do. But then they also drafted the two Nebraska kids. Remember the Davises, Carl Davis and who's the other defensive tackle from Nebraska? They have both those players too.
Oh, really?
And then they got the Edmonds, Terrell Edmonds and.
Oh yeah, Tremaine. No, they don't, Tremaine's plays with Buffalo Bills, but
I'm an idiot.
They are twins though,
and
he's not even on the roster anymore.
Still, they do chase brothers. They do chase brothers. All right. This is from. Oh, I gave that a B+.
Okay.
Because I again can't be too.
Oh, you were about to.
San Francisco 49ers.
That counts. That counts.
San Francisco 49ers have to factor in that they don't have a first-round pick because they traded up for Trey Lance last year and he hasn't played more than 100 snaps. But Drake Jackson, I thought was right where we would have taken Drake Jackson, the edge from USC. Ty Davis Price at LSU at 93 was a joke. He was not even a consensus top 200 player, I don't think. Or maybe in the 150 range or whatever. But that was an egregious reach at a position that is low value, where they already have talent and they already invested in Trey Sermon. The Danny Gray pick I thought was phenomenal at 105. And then after that, I don't know. They had Mr. Irrelevant and Brock Purdy. I wasn't a huge fan of this draft. I honestly leaned more B than anything above that. I mean, I don't like the Ty Davis Price pick. And obviously, you have to factor in the trade up for Trey Lance that has not exactly panned out yet. Oh, and Max Chadwick, shout out. Trey Edmonds is running back on the Steelers, and I think he's the brother of
Terrell, who's also not on the roster now.
Yes.
Wait, he's not on this.
I don't know actually.
He's on the Dolphins now.
Don't worry about it. We're done with the brothers' comments.
We're just keep swinging and missing on them too.
But yeah, I'm gonna go B for the San Francisco 49ers. But honestly, it's closer to a B- than it is B+.
Yeah, I went B. The Tyrion Davis Price, just why? Why did you draft Trey Sermon? And why did you – Elijah Mitchell was good. Why? I don't know. Drake Jackson, though, fan of that pick. I think he could pay off big dividends and obviously goes to a place where they've developed defensive linemen well. Danny Gray is the wild card here. Obviously, kind of an offense built with a bunch of versatile guys. He's not as versatile, but they don't have that speed threat. They don't have low 4.3s in that receiving core right now. They got low 4.3s in him, and I'm a big fan. To me, he's better than the speed guys that went before him in this draft. Velus, better than Tyquan as pure downfield kind of guy.
All righty then. Someone said Tiger's Wood. That's pretty good. I like Tiger's Wood for the male version. Also, Greg Goodfellow on YouTube said these California boys don't know football. You just got roped into being a California boy.
I'm not a Cali boy, Midwest through and through.
All right. Seattle Seahawks. Charles Cross at 9. Boye Mafe at 40. Kenneth Walker the third at 41. And then Abraham Lucas at 72. I like Tariq Woolen at 153. I thought that was value. Even Tyreek Smith at 158 and Bo Melton, the receiver from Rutgers, at 229. This is a good draft for the Seattle Seahawks. The Kenneth Walker pick keeps it from being an AA+, but I think it's a firm A- for Seattle. And I think in previous years, the Kenneth Walker pick would have drove this down to a D. But PFF is growing. We're developing. I'm going A- here.
I went A-. The Kenneth Walker pick, it's not even, again, like I said about the Jets, it's a good player for that position. That's fine at 41, but They have Chris Carson. Why do they keep doing this? You know, like the whole eat the trash thing. The Seahawks eat the trash again. Like the dog.
What the hell is the eat the trash thing?
You've never listened to Part of My Take where they talk about Peter King eating the trash. Like he can't help himself.
I didn't
It's
know
like
that.
a dog that eats the trash. They can't help themselves. The Seahawks can't help themselves.
Oh, okay.
They have to eat the trash. Kenneth Walker, they had to eat the trash again.
That's fair.
But Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas, two obviously air raid tackles, two guys who maybe going to have a learning curve going to the NFL because of that. But, man, they are athletes at tackle. That could be your 10-year starters. Could be a couple 10-year starters there.
I like this draft.
I think Cross my favorite pick, least favorite. I mean, it's got to be Kenneth Walker because that's the only.
It's where they eat
Actually,
the trash.
no, Kobe Bryant's my least favorite. I just don't think he's that good.
All right, a few more teams here, and then we're out. The NFL podcast is trying to kick us out here. They go live at 9. All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers did not have a first-round pick, but they did initially. They traded back from 27 to 33 and picked up 106 and 180 to do so. They grabbed Logan Hall at the top of day 2, which we would have gone Travis Jones here, but I still think it's right where we would have picked Logan Hall. Luke Gedeke immediately can come in and start at guard. I love that pick for 57.
Love that pick.
After that, Rashad White, one of your guys. Cade Otton, who I thought was good. Kokeeft, best blocking tight end in the class maybe. Was at least the highest graded run blocking this tight end this past year.
Yeah.
And then Zion McCollum, who's worth the flyer at 157.
Yeah.
I thought this was a good draft. Why did you give it a B?
Yeah, I probably should have gone higher. That probably should have gone B+.
What's your problem?
I don't know. They didn't get surplus board value is probably why.
This is at least a B+.
I mean,
at least.
They did hit need. So, need with the tight end too. So I love it from that perspective.
It's at least a B+.
But they didn't get surplus board value.
It's at least a B+.
It's all about surplus board value.
They traded down and picked up some
I'll
picks.
go B+. Get a key home run. Again, that guy's going to be a stud. He just flat out is. I'm a big fan of this game.
B+. All right, Tennessee Titans. Did not like this draft. We gave it a B+. Trading away A.J. Brown for Traylon Burks, I don't think is the way. I don't think that's what gets this team to a Super Bowl. You talk about a move that, like, what best gets this team to being Super Bowl competitive? It's not trading A.J. Brown and bringing in Traylon Burks. And it's also not offering A.J. Brown a $16 million per year contract and expecting him to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think that's good business for Tennessee at the top of the draft.
Yeah, so if they don't have Malik Willis in this, it's more like C+ range.
I agree. Oh, I forgot about the Malik Willis value.
But the Malik Willis, like 86, man, and we've said he's going to be a while with him. Mm-hmm. They have a while. They have Tannehill there for 2 more years, so I love that pick. The A.J. Brown thing is utterly ridiculous to me. I could not believe that on draft night. That's your dream scenario. I just don't think you let guys like that get away. And the Titans have kind of had this odd thing now about retaining some of their top guys. You know, they let a lot of their first-rounders walk without picking up their options, whether it's Jack Conklin, Corey Davis, and now let A.J. Brown out the door. I mean, obviously, not questioning John Robinson's tenure as GM. He's been a very good GM for them. Obviously, #1 seed last year, but kind of an odd way they've built this, and they have to look back at that Bud Dupree deal and be like, God damn it, like it's hamstringing them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
From a cap perspective in a big way. That's why they have to make this move. So yeah, this Titans draft, B+ because of Malik Willis, B+ because I love Kyle Phillips and Chig Okonkwo.
Okonkwo, yeah, that's good.
But the rest, kind of nothing to write home.
I might go solid B here though. I mean, you think about like moving forward as to be Super Bowl competitive. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily think the A.J. Brown trade did that. Last but not least, Washington Commanders, which I think you could move. You gave it a C+. I think you could move it to a C. Like I don't like this draft. Jahan Dotson overdrafted, and I'm not going to be overconfident in my own evaluation.
It should be lower than C+. Honestly, I'd go like
C-.
D+, dude. This is bad. That's the Sam Howell. It's the Sam Howell pick.
Sam Howell pick keeps it alive. I know.
Okay,
so Jahan Dotson, I can't be overconfident in my evaluation of Jahan Dotson, but I was
God
lower
damn
on
it,
him.
Austin! Stop saying it.
I was lower on Dotson. But if they liked him, here's the thing about Dotson. He was watching the NBA playoffs that night because he didn't think he was going to get drafted in round 1. Yeah. And then guess what? Fedarian Mathis said the same thing. He's like, I didn't know we were going to get drafted on day 2. Like if you draft 2 players that didn't even expect to go in the rounds they went, you probably did not evaluate them effectively.
They had their phone on Do Not Disturb. They're like,
Jahan Dotson was cheering on the NBA playoffs. All right, Dotson, don't love it where they got him. There are other receivers I liked over Dotson in the spot. Fedarian Mathis, no. Like, I would have rather had Travis Jones here or any other defensive tackle nearly. Like, Fedarian Mathis is not going to offer you anything as a pass rusher. Then Brian Robinson Jr., when you already have Antonio Gibson and Jared Patterson. Like, why are you adding this? I don't get that pick either. Sam Howell saves this one, but when you factor in that like 32 teams passed on him 4 times, how good is he? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Don't be overconfident in your own evaluation there either.
God damn it. Every single time.
Sam Howell, like, yeah, we had him as a top 40 player, a top 50 player, QB2 in this class, but like, if he falls down that far, we probably don't know something. You know, Sam Howell falls that far. I don't know. I think C- is probably where it needs to be, dude. This Chris Paul I kind of like, but this Washington draft was I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, not a fan of this draft.
Quite obviously, Sam Howell, least favorite. It's probably
Fedarian.
Probably Jahan. 16, man. 16. They came in the draft with
a
pick
small
11.
Receiver that doesn't have like elite athleticism despite being 178 pounds.
They came in with a premium spot at 11.
And they traded down.
You thought they were going to get like a dude. And they had an option. They had Jameson Williams sitting there.
Ridiculous. We end on a sour note here on Tailgate.
Sadly.
Appreciate everyone who followed along on YouTube. I think my favorite finally is Swingers, but it was a phenomenal draft.
I like Par 69.
Par 69?
Yeah.
I think that's fair. All right. Until next time, Gayle, Mike Renner, Tailgate.